Hi kids, it's Mrs. Janie, and I'm here again with you today to bring you another art lesson. I know this one is specifically made for 4th grade, and I know in 4th grade science they talk about natural resources, and that made me think about natural resources locally, and ones that I notice when I drive through our community are farms. There are lots of farms around here, and you'll see lots of different animals on the farms. But one in particular that I notice are the cows. There are lots of fields that you drive by that you'll see lots of cows around here. So thinking along those lines, and also thinking about the fact that 4th grade also talks about colony life and how this country got started, and the people moving across the oceans and then having to survive here for such a long time. They also had to learn how to farm, and so that's where my mind was going when I got the idea for this particular project. So in class we'll talk a little bit more about natural resources, and we're going to explore some books about some cows. Okay, this one is Doobie Doobie Moo. Okay, we'll talk about this one, and this is about some farm animals that enter a talent contest at the fair, so that's a fun one. This isn't one of my favorites. I love this one. This is called Otis, and Otis is the tractor, and he makes friends with this little calf, and it's a really sweet story about how he saves the calf. So we'll take a look at that if you're in class. If not, you can probably find these books at your library. You might even find some read-alouds on YouTube or other sites. This one came with a Happy Meal from a local fast food place, so who knows where you can find good books, right? So all of this, the farming and the cows, the theme, I started thinking about a lot of the popular paintings you can buy in stores, department stores, and they have those funny looking animals that are real close up, like they're right in front of your face. So I thought they were really funny and really cute, and I thought it would be fun to do a close-up version of a cow's face. So that's where the idea came from. This is where we're going. That's one of the finished ones. That's my example. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So I've got a list here. These are materials that you'll need to have. You're going to need paper. Now in class I'm going to give out a blue sheet of paper. You could use any paper you have available if you're doing this at home. You'll need a pencil and an eraser to do your drawing with. When we're all done, we're going to outline everything in Sharpie to make it stand out really nice. If you don't have a Sharpie, just a black marker will do. We're going to use tempera paint. If you have craft paint, you can use that. You could also use crayons and color this if you don't have paint. You don't have to use paint to color this in. If you're doing paint, you're going to need a brush. You're going to need a cup of water to rinse your brush, and you'll need either paper towels or a rag to wipe your brushes off with when you're working. Okay. I've got all those things set out here ready to go. So let me show you how I proportion my paper. So proportion means to work with size relationships. So I'm going to divide this paper into thirds, and I'm going to overlap my two edges like this and kind of even them out and crease it like this. So it's almost like a travel brochure, okay? A little pamphlet you might find. That's what you're trying to go for. Now that gives you 3 sections. I've got somewhat equal portions of the page here. Okay. Now, I'm going to draw with a marker so that you can see it on camera. You are going to use a pencil so that if you mess up, you can erase it. Now, in class, I'm going to have these handouts that show the steps. There are 6 basic steps to drawing this close-up version of our cow. I'll put this up here so that you can see it clearly. If you are at home, you can pause the video. Okay. And you can come back to this if you need to. I'm going to post this on the board so that I can look at it while I'm working. So I'm going to put this right here. Now, in the bottom third of the page down here, we're going to draw the nose of the cow. And it's a little bit like a square, but it's going to be rounded. So think, or rectangle. Let's think rectangle like this. Okay? See how I've rounded the corners there? But on the bottom, we're going to curve it up a little bit. So that's the shape we're going for. So I'm going to start over here. I'm going to curve it straight across. Curve it. Now they come towards the middle. I'm going to curve up like I'm making a frown. Come back down. Just like that. Now that makes the large portion of the nose. Now, in step 2, we're going to add the bottom of the mouth here. So that's like a smile. And we're going to add the nostrils. Now, when I teach doing the nostrils, I'm going to do the one on the left first because it's a lot like the number 6. But instead of drawing the 6 all the way around, we're going to come up and touch the top like that. So it's more like a teardrop. So, draw your nostril. Now you're going to do the same thing, you're just going to do it backwards for the other side. There's my nostrils. Now for the head of the cow, the top portion of his head, okay, we're going to, it's a little bit like a lowercase letter N, okay, but we're going to curve it in on the sides just a little bit to give it look like it's moving away from us. So it's going to come in a little bit through this middle portion. It's going to curve like this. Now in the top, that's where you make your lowercase letter N in that top portion of the paper. Starting to look a little bit like a cow. We've got a few things to add. Alright, in step number 4, we add the ears. So if you've ever drawn flowers on your own, you know that the leaves are a lot like this. So you're going to do the same kind of shape. We're going to add this right here. Do another one on this side. Now I'm going to add what we call an accent line. I'm going to add a curve here and here to make it look like the ear is folded over, it's open. Now if you wanted to make this a bowl and you want to add horns on top, you're welcome to do that. Just remember, you can't call it a cow anymore if you're doing that. Okay, we've got our ears. Now we're going to add, in step number 5, we're going to add the eyes and some accent lines on the nose. So, when we were talking about the nostrils, we did a number 6. On the eyes, on this side, you're going to draw the letter, or the number 9. Now on this side, it looks like the letter P. That's going to give you the shape for your eyes. And then these accent lines give that illusion that the nose is coming down towards you. So curve those lines out like this. Okay, so there's the basics of the cow. Now we're going to add details. So, cows have long eyelashes. You can add those lashes onto the eyes. We need to add a background, so I'm going to put a line in my background here. So this is the farmland, the grass behind the cow, and this becomes the sky. In my example, I have clouds in the background. You could draw a barn back here. You could do a fence. You can draw whatever you like. If you want to add flowers in the picture down here below, you can add those in as well. But whatever you want, you need to draw everything in first. When you're done drawing, you need to get out your water. Now in class, we use cups like this with lids. It's a good idea to have something like this so that if you do knock over your water, it's not going to spill all of the water all over the table. It might just dribble a little bit. Or if you've got little bottles like this that you've already drank out of, take the empty bottle, refill it. This is, you can see I've already used this to do some watercolor. But then you can use this to rinse your brushes with, and again, it's got a smaller opening so you don't spill as much if you have an accident with it. I've got a couple brushes here. In class, you'll get 2 brushes like this to work with. At home, use what you have. Now, I put my tempera paints in an egg carton, and there'll be some spaces left if you need to mix colors in these spots here. So you'll have the primary colors, your red, yellow, and blue, and you'll have black and white. You'll also have green because you'll be using a lot of green probably to do your background. Other colors you might want to mix would be orange. And if you remember, our mixing yellow with a little red is going to give you orange. If you're going to mix purple, you're going to need to start with red and add a little blue to it. Or you can start with blue and add a little red. Depends on what color purple you really want. But when you're doing orange, always start with the lighter color, that's yellow, and just add a little bit of red at a time. If you start the other way, it's going to take you forever and a whole lot of paint to try to get to the orange you want. If you need brown, I'll show you how to do that because some of you will want brown for your cow. So I'm going to make some orange. I'm going to take some yellow, put it over here. Now I'm going to rinse my brush. Get it all rinsed out. Okay. I'm going to take some red, just a little red, mix it in. It's hard to see on the camera, I'm sure. So that's going to give me an orange color. Now what you're going to do is, again, rinse your brush. Barely dip into the blue. Okay, just a little. And add that to your orange. If you get too much blue, it's going to look kind of green. But that's going to give you your brown color, okay, if you need brown. If you want to do pink for the inside of the cow's ears, that's pretty easy. Pink is a tint of red, so you'll take some white and put it in a space and just add a little bit of red to it and you'll get pink. I think that should cover most of the colors that you might want to use in your painting. Now we'll start to paint. Okay. Now the extra down there. Okay. So I'm going to do, in this particular one, we did a white cow with black spots. So I'm going to do kind of the same thing here. You might need to do 2 coats to cover the paper. Take your time, follow the outline of your cow, and fill in. Now, you can paint over these accent lines. When that paint dries, you'll be able to see through that white. And when the paint is dry, you can take your marker. That's why you need your Sharpie marker or black marker. And you can add those lines back in. You can go back and outline the eyes if you need to. Those are all things you can add the lashes back on. Okay. So take your time. Make it look nice. Now, I'm going to have to let this part dry a little bit before I add my black spots. Because if I do that now, it's one, it's going to kind of drip because I got it hanging up on the board. 2, it's going to mix in with that white and it'll just look great. So I want to leave that and let it dry a little bit before I do that. Rinse my brush. Okay. Now you don't want to paint just your cow, you want to paint your background as well. So here's where you can bring in your green. Oh no, I got a little cow there. It's alright. I can touch that up later. So you want to make sure that you add this in too. Paint a nice background. Now the blue paper makes it so that you don't have to paint in a sky. You can leave it blue. You just paint the bottom portion. You get a little paint on your table where you're working. If you're at home, you want to put newspaper or a piece of plastic, something down, or a cardboard box underneath. In here in the classroom, if you get a little paint on the table, I'll wash that right up after we're done. Not a problem. It's all washable. Okay, so you would finish painting the whole thing. Until you end up with something like this. Pretty neat, huh? I think they're really cute. They all turn out pretty successful. Here's one where we've added a daisy at the bottom. Here there's hair added at the top of the cow. You can add those things if you want them. There's another one. There's flowers here growing. You could make those sunflowers in the background. That's really nice, especially this time of year. Okay. So have fun with this. I can't wait to see what your cows look like. Happy art making.